City Current. Produced by Dakota Media Access. In-depth discussion with Bismarck and Mandan city officials. Watch on Government Access Channel 602 HD or tune in to Radio Access 102.5 FM. Always local, always current.
Welcome to City Current, along with Mandan City Administrator Jim Neubauer. I'm Tom Gerhardt from Dakota Media Access. And Jim, we're knocking on the first official day of summer, and it finally feels like summer out there.
It's a gorgeous morning out there, Tom. So if for folks that have to work, sorry about that. For all of us that have to work, sorry to us also. And for those that don't today, get out and enjoy it because it seems like a pretty nice day.
Hit a trail in Mandan or a golf course and enjoy the day. Well, we're here to recap last night's City Commission meeting, and coming up on City Current, we'll be talking about city employee recognition. A pretty neat deal. You introduced new employees last night and then also recognized others for their years of service. We'll provide an update, a recap of the Mandan Art Alley project, and talk about a grant application that would bring some additional firefighters to Mandan. But first, let's start with the new employee and the work anniversary recognition and announcement. So a number of new employees and then a number of employees with various years of service, but one gentleman was recognized for 4 decades of service.
40 years of service, and congratulations to Dwayne Fries. He is our water treatment plant superintendent. Dwayne started working part-time, summer times in high school during his, quad decade year or something like that. But
let's go with that.
40 years for Dwayne. Does an awesome job at the water treatment plant. I think he's been through water treatment plant optimization phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 95 of them. I'm not sure what the count is right now, but Dwayne's worked his way up through the ranks, obtained many certifications in that world, and became the water treatment plant superintendent several years ago. And congratulations, Dwayne. 40 years with one entity is kind of unheard of nowadays. And really, we started to do our employee quarterly work anniversaries to give those awards out for 3, 5, 10, 15, 40-year awards, along with every quarter we're going to bring in some of the new employees that we have hired. One, it demonstrates, here are long-term employees here, so it shows some of the newbies you can have a career with the city of Mandan. So it's a good combination to have, and also to, like I said, recognize those folks and our new hires. We love to bring them in so that they can meet the commissioners. Here's what a city commission looks like. Commissioners can meet them, and so if they see them on the street or see them out in a snowplow or crack sealing, the various projects that we have going on within the city. So it's a nice combination to have.
Yeah, and the photo that I have here, Jim, just kind of shows that cross-section of the employees that were recognized last night. And as you mentioned, Dwayne, I guess, standing to the left of Mayor Freilich.
Right.
And to the right of your screen, again, recognized for 40 years. But I thought it was really cool just watching, and as you mentioned, we're seeing everybody from a new employee who's working in an obscure area of the city all the way up to, everything from A to Z. So that was kind of fun, and I can see where that's a valuable thing for the employees and then also the commission to interact like that.
Yeah, and we think that's, we really like doing that, and some folks don't like getting up and being recognized for that, but we think it's important. It's not a you have to show up. It's like we'd like you to show up, present you with a certificate, and also for the new employees to see that. One interesting thing about Dwayne is I think both of his sons have worked also part-time out at the water treatment plant, so it's kind of been a family tradition. I don't think any of them are working there now, but again, super congrats to Dwayne. Does a great job for us, and he's lived through many transitions out at the water treatment plant.
No kidding. Going all the way back into, what would that be, the 80s, I guess? So,
and, like you said, he was working there part-time when he was in high school. Yep.
Well, Matt Shanador from the Mandan Progress Organization, also spoke last night. A little recap of Buggies and Blues, and as we were talking about before we were on the air here, that ended up being an extraordinarily windy weekend, but it didn't stop, folks. And we heard anywhere from, I thought Matt said, up to 30,000 people over the entire weekend. But you said you had quite a story when you popped in Sunday.
I was
50-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
I was shocked, to tell you the truth. We had been out at Mandan Airport for Pancakes and Planes earlier in the day, and they had all the planes were tied down, and
Right.
unfortunately, usually there's some Snoopy and the Red Baron planes that are flying around at the airport during that time. That didn't happen again because of the 50-mile-an-hour winds. We left there and drove downtown because I just want to say, okay, what's this going to be like?
Right.
And I was totally blown away by the number of people that were downtown. So kudos to all of the folks, the food vendors, the bands that have been playing Friday night through Saturday and on Sunday, for all of the folks that came out. I think Matt said 22,000 people roughly on Sunday. That means you had probably 4,000 on Saturday and 4,000 on Friday night. So great event, continues to grow in popularity, and like I said, they changed a few things up with the band in the stage location, which we heard.
Yeah, that looked really, really cool.
A lot of compliments on, hey, we get to sit in the grass, and we get to, maybe we should have advertised bring your lawn chair to watch the bands, because a lot of people did that,
Yeah.
and instead of having to stand, and the picnic tables we had were all filled up with folks. So, congrats to the MPO and all the sponsors that help. Those events don't happen without sponsorships.
You talk about all those people. Of course, that's a lot of business for the businesses, and just recognition for Mandan, and kind of a fun side too. I think Matt said the headlining band was from California. I can't remember if he said Orange County, but it was their first time in North Dakota.
Yep.
So
Orange County, so they got taste of the wind. Maybe not the Santa Ana winds from California, but they had North Dakota winds. But again, great turnout, great crowds. The bands were awesome, and again, kudos to all the folks that helped put that on. Matt and the crew at the MPO, along with, and like I said, without the sponsorships that go in there, these events just aren't possible.
No public hearings last night.
No.
And the consent agenda was passed unanimously. But I just wanted to talk about one item on that consent agenda I found interesting, and that was a contract that was renewed with the Heart River Correctional Center. And tell us what you're able to do with those agreements that helps the city out.
Yeah, we have, again, agreement with Heart River Correctional Facility where we are able to contract with them. They will bring out folks and help weed whipping at the weed whacking, whatever you want to call that. If you're from New Jersey, like the former fire chief, it'd be weed whipping. Well, that's weird.
I've never heard that. I like that now. I'm going to use that term.
So they help out getting the cemetery prepared for Memorial Day because of I think there's 8,000 grave sites out there, and we need a little bit of help getting those prepared and ready to go, looking good. They do garbage cleanup in the ditches on the way out to the landfill and around the landfill, and also around town. They'll do snow shoveling in the wintertime. So it's a great asset for us to have, and it's pretty economical for them to do too. So it's good to have that resource available to us, and we certainly do make use of it.
New business, we got an update from the Bismarck-Mandan Chamber EDC. They appeared at the Bismarck City Commission last week, but just wanted to reiterate, I think a message there was just how critical workforce development is and how it goes hand in hand with economic development, something certainly they're working on for both the cities.
Yep, big shout out to Brendan Egel, who came in and did a very nice presentation to the board. We like to have them come in and say, here's what we're working on, because we, as the cities of Bismarck, Mandan, and Burlington counties, are members of the Chamber EDC. And what are you doing to help us out? And talent attraction and workforce development is top of mind of everyone. If you're trying to find employees, there's a lot of programs out there that are trying to help get people here. And
Yeah.
I would throw out one of those things, that one of the most interesting things that we find out is if there is a family connection. If you know of friends or family that are living and working out of state, they most likely maybe want to get back to North Dakota, and there are jobs available for them here. And we find that that is one of the critical key parts of talent attraction and workforce development, is if you know someone who knows someone, encourage them to go job hunting here if they're looking for a move. And like I said, I think that's a big part of the talent attraction program with the Chamber EDC. So again, kudos to Brenda for coming in. Does that about twice a year and gives an update on here's what we've been doing, and away we go. So.
And you guys have a nice connection. Mayor Freilich, Brenda mentioned,
Yep.
is on the board of directors for the chamber, and so he's up to speed on everything that's
He's up to
happening.
speed. We have other commissioners that will attend their government affairs and local issue committee meetings and things like that. So there's very good participation, both from our elected officials, our staff, and also from members of the community that serve on those boards too.
Wanted to talk about the 2025 Business Pitch Challenge. Some money
Right.
that available in the Mandan Growth Fund, I believe, $15,000 they're looking at, and just a neat way to encourage entrepreneurs to come forward with some new ideas.
Yeah, great. I think can't remember if this is the 5th or 6th year of the Business Pitch Challenge. Started kind of modeled after a lot of people watch Shark Tank.
Yep.
And really what it's doing, it sets a deadline out there for entrepreneurs. They're, well, I'm thinking about starting a business. I may not, but this gives them that extra push, and a lot of help will help you have resources available to help people get their business plans ready. You'll come in and do a business pitch, and then they'll be ranked and graded by members of the community. And so what's different this year is we're looking at instead of a $10,000 first prize award, which will continue, adding $3,000 for second and $2,000 for third, and these are all in a forgivable loan, so that if you have a certain amount of time to get your business up and going, and you have to stay in business for a certain amount of time, or that forgivable loan isn't forgiven based on the number of years that you are open. So it's not without some clawbacks, some protections in there. So I'm open for a year and then I'm out. But again, we talked about sponsorships for
Yep.
Buggies and Blues and all the events in Mandan. Great sponsors help us out in this program, and we're looking for that, I think, in this coming October, November. So keep an eye out for that. And again, we heard feedback that we heard was like, hey, it'd be nice to have, not just your grand prize, but second and
Right,
third places
right.
would be able to share in that too. So, and that's why this idea was brought forward.
Yeah, I like the idea of spreading the wealth and giving
Yep.
others some opportunities, and that third place person could end up being the most impactful entrepreneur down the road.
And that's how it has worked in some years, where your top prize winner will get going, they'll open their business, but maybe there's someone who didn't even make the finals, and they have, we've got a couple examples in Mandan of those folks that didn't win, but they have very thriving businesses going right now. So we think it's not just the first place prize, it's you might be 5th, you might be 4th, but it gives those entrepreneurs a reason.
Right.
Let's get off the dime and let's do something because we've been thinking about it for 3 years, and let's go for it now. And like I said, having that deadline in there, I think makes things move a little quicker.
Another item on the agenda aims to bring more visitors to Mandan, and that's the Mandan Heritage Valley Art Project. They're looking for, I think, $35,000
Right.
more dollars from the Visitors Fund, and we have a lot of photos of examples of what this
Correct.
art alley could look like. Bismarck has one. I think Aaron Barth mentioned last night this whole concept originated out of Philadelphia years ago, but really a neat opportunity to bring, I think, 14 artists to the first couple of phases of this project.
It'll be, and again, one of these grassroots projects that was spawned, I think, out of a meeting we held last May, in May of 2024. How do we invigorate, how do we get more people downtown? We know that a lot of people like to walk the alleys in the evenings in kind of the entertainment district, and the idea of murals and alley art came up, and I know that Matt Shenandoah was instrumental, and Andrew Strami, our former city planner, were instrumental in moving this forward and got Aaron and his crew to buy in. In February of 2025, they came in and said, hey, we've raised the money, we're not going to ask anything from the city, we're good to go. Awesome. They put out the call for artists, and they got overwhelming response from artists, and they said, we're going to need a little bit of help financially to do this now. So the Visitors Committee met last week and approved, up to $35,000, and the commission approved that last night. So, and these folks are ready to go. And a lot of very good questions last night about the artists, who they were, and give us some examples of that work. And I think Aaron did a nice job of sharing that information.
Yeah.
While they didn't depict here's exactly that piece of art that will go on that building. It's a matter of, here's an example of what we can do.
Yeah.
And here's a story that I kind of want to tell. And we'll go from there. Not me personally, because my stick people wouldn't really be a great.
You mentioned your art abilities
or
last
the
night.
art inabilities is more like
That'd
it.
be more. Yeah.
And so, great project. Commission was very supportive. They wanted to know, okay, how is this going to draw more people downtown? And we think just the fact that it'll clean up the alleys in some ways. A lot of talk about graffiti and things like that. And I think what's been shown over and over again is that taggers or artists don't like to mess up other artists' work.
Yeah.
And that is, if you look through the alleys right now, it's, there's some things that have occurred that aren't the best. And with this additional money that's being provided, these folks that know what they're doing are going to be doing it. It's not Jim and Tom going to go out there
with our stick figures.
With our stick figures and our can of paint that's been sitting in the basement for
Haven't
15 years
Yep.
and try and do something.
Yeah.
These are professionals. They know what they're doing. They know what kind of applications to put on. They know what will work. And thank you to the business owners that have provided the platform
Right.
for those
That was
for
another
that art
question.
to be done.
The businesses sign
Yeah.
off on this.
And
Absolutely.
I think Aaron said they've got 14 or 15
Yeah.
locations, and they've all signed off and says, yes, we want to be a part of this. And again, we think it's great, and we think that your alley walking and things like that. We mentioned last night that put the art in the alley, and then the idea is to make it a safer place to walk. So next project will probably be looking at some additional lighting in the alleys to make sure that happens. But kudos. We're looking forward to see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to taking that walk myself. The acronym SAFER.
Yep.
But that's our next item on the agenda is a grant from the Department of Homeland Security that the chief made, but utilizing some federal funds to bring an additional 6 firefighters to Mandan. Seems like a win-win proposition.
It is, and that's been our long-term planning process. A lot of the meetings we've held with the commission since the beginning of the year, what does our long-term financial plan look like from a personnel, from a monetary standpoint? This, one of the things that was key on the commission's list was how do we make sure that we have adequate staffing for the 2 stations that we currently have. And Fire Chief Bitts said, by applying for 6 new firefighter positions, we're not assured we're going to get that grant at this point in time, but the commission approved applying for it. If we get 6 more positions, and a good part of that is funded through this grant, I think for about 3 years, and then they become ours and our responsibility, but we can get those stations fully staffed with at least 3 people on each shift.
And Chief Bitts said there's a plan for sustainability.
Right.
If people are wondering, well, what happens when the grant runs out? But
Yep.
it really initially gets the firefighters here and in place much more quickly.
Right. And again, it's a matter of
Yep.
those discussions have been happening with the commission since the first part of January on what are the priorities and how do we fund these things. And this opportunity came up, and these opportunities aren't there all the time. So it's a matter of let's apply for them. If we're successful, we'll move forward. If not, we will look at things again and go to Plan B.
Yeah.
But again, this is a good opportunity for us that we don't want to pass up.
This interesting topic next, I think, when you talk about growth of communities, what's happening in Mandan. In this case, we're talking about second development of Lakewood Shores,
Yep.
excuse me. And, the city is working with developers, and developers are working with the city to get these things off the ground. And in this case, a couple of bumps in the road that you guys are trying to figure out, I guess I would say.
Yeah, we've had many discussions with the developer of Shores of Lakewood 2nd Edition and 3rd Edition and 4th Edition on a development agreement. And that development agreement really lays out the expectations on the developer and the expectations on what is the city going to provide, what is the developer going to provide. And we want to make sure that those expectations are clear and they're all met and they're all agreed upon before projects move forward. So again, it's a really good document that we've utilized in the past to say, here's what the developer is responsible for, here's what the city is responsible for. In this case, we reached a couple of, I'll call them impasses with staff and the developer, and needed a little bit of direction from the commission on which way they wanted to go on 3 or 4 items. We got that direction, and now we will sit down with the developer again and kind of work through that agreement and make sure that When we bring it forward in July 1st, I think that we will have those things ironed out so that all parties can move forward. And that just shows it, things just don't happen. This is a long-term development. We want to make sure that the city's interests are protected for all the citizens of Mandan and things are done right. And the developer knows what to expect from us, and we know what to expect from them.
Yeah, I think, the end result always looks easy, whether you're talking about a musician or an actor or an athlete or in this case a city, but there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes to make it look easy in the end.
Yep. And we would, from a staff standpoint, we would love to bring agreements to the commission that are everything's worked out and it's all good to go. Sign it and approve it and let's go. In this case, we were saying no from a staff standpoint to a few items that the developer wanted to do, and we just said no, 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 and it came to a point where, all right, commission, let's get some feedback from you, and then we can move this process forward.
Just wanted to bring up something on, of course, Memorial Highway. Reconstruction continues, and there was a move for a change order last night that was approved, but it would bring a more substantial level of asphalt and to a temporary roadway,
right,
essentially, and just to make it a little better surface in the meantime while construction continues for this year and next year.
Yep, the crux of that was that change order, which there's no additional out-of-pocket costs for the city of Mandan or our residents because of the funding formula on this project. But the second piece of that is giving the city engineer the ability to approve change orders to a higher dollar amount
Threshold, yeah.
so that this project can continue to move forward. And again, it's a $100 million plus project. There's going to be things that are unforeseen and things that need to be changed, and the ability to do them quickly and move the project, keep the project forward versus, hey, maybe there's a change order that comes in today and we've got 2 weeks before our next meeting. Well, there needs to be some movement, and like I said, so we upped the level of the change order ability for our city engineer to make. And again, these are for no additional costs out of the city's pocket. It all affects the federal and state highway funds.
We'll have another edition of City Current July 1st, I think, as you mentioned,
right,
or second before the 4th, but just wanted to remind folks about the Mandan Independence Day Parade because it's such a significant event, and with the construction on Memorial Highway, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, it's always good to remind folks. There was a change in the staging area, and like I said, with all the construction going on Memorial Highway, you might want to leave a little early if you're coming to the parade, and it might take you a little longer to get out when the parade is done. So just a reminder for folks to plan accordingly. Look at our City Mandan website or Mandan Progress Organization, or visit Mandan websites, and they will have some updates on where to park and how to navigate a lot of the construction that's going on this year, and it'll be the same next year and probably the third year after. So again, Matt Shenandoah, his crew has worked very closely with all of our emergency service providers to make sure that traffic moves as smoothly as it can. Or will there be hiccups? Absolutely. But again, things are going to be a little bit different this year, so Main Street will still be filled with the parade. It's just that there's that part from the staging area to Main Street which will not be available for spectators.
Hard to believe we're talking about July already, but as we all know, the days do go faster.
Yeah, even though we've got a lot of sunlight. I think last night I was sitting outside about 9:45, 10 o'clock and going, wow, it is still daylight out.
Yeah, I think, is it Friday?
Great thing about North Dakota.
Friday is the first official day of summer.
Yep.
So then days, then we start going downhill.
We start turning, but, well, I don't know about downhill, but it's, like I said, summers are short in North Dakota, and folks certainly need to get out and enjoy them when they can, just like today.
Yeah, we wanted to, I guess when we were talking about the Memorial Highway,
Yep.
But we have the QR code and phone number and website that if you want to stay up to date, that's a way to do so, to find out what's happening on Memorial Highway. As you said, this is a long-term significant project, but easy access to information online by using that QR code, or you can call as well. So
right,
lots going on in Mandan.
A lot going on in Mandan, and use caution when you're traveling Memorial Highway, continue to participate and partake in the businesses on there. We always, if you go to the visit mandan.com, I think the additional money on the gift card program is still
right.
there.
Help the businesses out. Yep, keep them in mind.
Add something 25% onto your purchasing power, if we can say that correctly.
And just a reminder that you can watch City Current, you can watch the Mandan City Commission meeting, the Morton County, all the meetings on our DMA app if you want to download that on your iPhone or Android or wherever you are. And we also have our Radio Access 102.5 app, and you can listen to our podcasts and all of our DJ producers with all their excellent music shows. So you can find us wherever you are, whenever you can. Jim, great to see you.
Thanks for having us as always.
Yeah. Have a great day, and thanks for watching City Current.
For more information on what was discussed in this episode of City Current, visit cityofmandan.com or call 701-667-3215. If you have any suggestions, comments, or issues you would like addressed in future City Current episodes, contact us at info@freetv.org. This program airs on Government Access Channel 2 and 602 in HD, or on Radio Access 102.5 FM. It's also available as a podcast on radioaccess.org and as a video viewing link at freetv.org. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of City Current.